Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. Now, unfortunately, it is just me today. Graham will be back this weekend. We've got a very special Saturday episode of the Tactical Insight coming out because we can't wait too long to talk about Arsenal no matter what happens. But I'm feeling good about the team. I think a lot of people are feeling good about the team, and pre-season is the reason why. We've really enjoyed watching them. Going out to Orlando was amazing. I know Seth had a great time in Nuremberg with Lee as well. And Arsenal have been flexing their muscles a little bit, showing what they've been working on all this time under Arteta. And now the players are starting to really come together. It feels like we understand what it is Arsenal are trying to do. And I know it's only pre-season, but you still got to use that opportunity to get up to speed, to get momentum, to get confidence. And I think we're seeing that from Arsenal at the moment. And we certainly saw it over pre-season, and it's Palace on Friday. So we thought we'd take this opportunity just to remind ourselves a little bit of how pre-season went, see what we learned from it, see what we might, I guess I've learned that can be then applied to the Palace game when previewing, looking ahead and understanding how Arsenal might approach that game. But where better to start than obviously just reminding ourselves of the results we've had in pre-season. Now I know there's been the Brentford and Ipswich games behind closed doors. I've not included them because, well, we lost to Brentford, so it just ruins the OCD, just annoys me that there could have been an L in this graphic here. But they're behind closed doors, and I think really we didn't really see a lot of them. A lot of players were missing, bar some highlights. In fact, we didn't even get highlights of the Brentford game. So I'm not really, not that I'm not taking them seriously, you take them seriously, but I'm just looking at the games and analysing and understanding from the games that we got to see live. And there were five. From the 5-2 win against Nuremberg, remember we were 2-0 down in that game. Once the big guns came on in the second half, really turned it around for Arsenal. We even went to a back three shape, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. Arsenal beating Everton 2-0 out in Baltimore. A very convincing performance. A very, they used that first 45 when they had the first team on, let's say, to show Everton what they're about. Second half, they kind of just hung in there, and then once he kind of made a few changes, Arsenal got back into it. But it was convincing, it was comfortable. We then beat Orlando 3-1 again in the second half. It's the case of the big guns coming on, flexing their muscles, showing what they're about, getting the win fairly comfortably there. And then, 10 goals in 2 games against Chelsea and Sevilla. And those are the 2 games that I'm really going to base most of my learnings from, because, against 2 good sides, Chelsea weren't as up to speed as they should have been. Sevilla could be more forgiving when it comes to them. Their season starts a little bit later, but they clearly weren't up to speed. I think only had the one pre-season game against Tottenham to really look at and to use as an opportunity to get ready. Arsenal much more ahead in their pre-season. It showed in that game. So they looked very good, Arsenal. I've got to give them credit. They looked good across pre-season, especially when those real first teamers played. We saw a couple things come into play that we've seen Arteta do, really, in his time at Arsenal. But I think we saw it really come together. We saw us really understanding the roles of the inverted fullbacks, for example, and all that. Well, in fact, let's just go into it. And starting with the fact that he went for a back three towards the beginning of pre-season. Now, I'm not going to harp on about this too much because ultimately we didn't really see it again. I think we saw it against Everton briefly, we saw it against Nuremberg, and I don't really know whether he used it in the pre-season friendlies, behind closed doors friendlies or not. But there were times, especially that second half of the Nuremberg game, he went to a back three. Martinelli was the left wing back on one side. We had Marquinhos and I can't remember who was the right wing back for the Nuremberg game. But, we basically had wingers stretching the game and then a platform of a 3 to build into midfield. And then in the Everton game, he went for a back 3. But they struggled a little bit. I think Mari, Gabriel and Saliba at one point with the back 3. They didn't struggle, sorry. I mean, Arsenal didn't really have a lot of rhythm when they deployed the back 3. They looked a lot better when they were playing with the back 4, the 4-3-3 shape, and Arsenal looked very good with it. The arrival of Zinchenko, and I'll take it to the tactical pad here. Now we've got Zinchenko here in the left-back position. Obviously, with Tierney having injury problems, he's not been able to play in pre-season. Zinchenko, who played all but one appearance last season for Manchester City, was as a left-back, although I still have this bet going with Robbie that he's going to make appearances in midfield, but we'll leave that for another day. Zinchenko coming in meant we got to see a lot more of what Arteta's trying to do with his inverted fullbacks. Tierney, I don't think it comes as naturally to him. I think he wants to hug the touchline, break the lines, get in beyond, drop shoulder, beat the man, get the ball into the box. With Zinchenko, I think it is a different story. I think he loves coming to those central areas and being a kind of deep-lying playmaker. And then, of course, when you've got Tomiyasu as well, hasn't been able to get any pre-season at all. And you've got players like Ben White, who is more of a like-for-like compared to Cedric. and Saliba playing very well as well in pre-season. This back four makes sense. It makes sense, and I think it's what we're going to see come Palace. So the way Arsenal have lined up, as we've seen Martinelli and Bukayo Saka really hug the touchlines. That's something that Arteta's always wanted them to do. Xhaka and Odegaard as the more advanced dates, we like to call them. Saliba, Gabriel splitting, and Zinchenko and White coming into those more central areas and being part of a platform and being part of a shield as well, with Thomas Partey in front of Gabriel and Saliba. Now, what I've really liked about it is that they've been, what's the word? They've been constantly alternating. They've been rotations. And in the Sevilla game, there I was watching and going, okay, let's see what the players do now in this shape. At home, they're feeling confident, they're on the ball. You know, we're falling up after 20 minutes. Let's see what Arsenal are going to do now, because it's a real opportunity for Arteta to really show the Arsenal he wants to show when you're in a position where you're 2-3, 4-0 up after 15 to 20 minutes. And I have to say, what I saw, I wouldn't go as far as say it blew me away, but, you know, we've been on this Tactical Insight show so many times, me and Graham. We talk about our shape, we talk about our build-up, we talk about the way Arsenal want to look. And the reality is, Arsenal are just doing a little bit of everything right now. It's total football. That's what total football is. It's everyone being comfortable in multiple positions and adopting different roles. And wherever you end up, it's knowing what you've got to do in that position, in that situation. And so you had, you know, again, I'll take it back to the tactical pad. Cool, Martinelli hugging the touchline, Xhaka getting forward, we're going to illustrate a goal in a bit, and Zinchenko coming into midfield. When I say coming into midfield, by the way, there were times where Partey shifted across and Zinchenko was incredibly central. I mean, really central. Sometimes Xhaka would pull out a little bit. It was really, really interesting watching the way they constantly moved around and just adapted to what they needed to do, considering Sevilla's shape and moving them around and all that. But what we often saw was Xhaka, or let's say Martinelli coming inside to support Jesus, Xhaka dropping deep closer to Partey, as Zinchenko hugging the touchline. And you essentially had the exact same kind of system, the exact same idea in terms of the rotation. They're almost just on a pivot, just constantly rotating, the three of them. And it was constantly asking different questions of Sevilla. And I think we're going to see a lot of this because you've got players who are so comfortable in either area of the pitch. Zinchenko's happy to be inside or hug the touchline and get up and down. Martinelli's happy to wait for the ball on the touchline or make runs inside and get close to Jesus. And Xhaka's happy to get forward, but also play as that deep line playmaker, which we've seen him do many, many times before. And I really, really enjoyed watching Arsenal constantly alternate and rotate with those positions. But in terms of the rotations, we can talk about that area of the pitch. We also saw rotations in the front three and the constant movement, and it's illustrated by this goal here. Now let's get it up. Now what I'm showing here is not really the goal, but Gabriel Jesus' position when this ball is pinged out to him by Ben White. Jesus is out on the touchline, the ball goes out from White, and Jesus, oh, I've got that wrong. Let me just show that one more time. Ben White pings the ball out to Jesus. He's hugging the touchline. And in the front three, I mean, Gabriel has stayed forward at that point. But you've got Martinelli, Saka. They're all looking after, you know, the defenders. Make sure the centre-backs are constantly occupied when that ball comes out to Gabriel Jesus. And what he does is he finds the underlap to Xhaka before he follows his run and gets into the box and scores a goal. A little bit more on that particular goal a little bit later. But we saw rotations in the front three. We saw Jesus many times coming out wide to, you know, get the ball, beat a man, allow the inside forwards to make those runs. And I think the goal that really shows where Jesus' positioning created opportunities for Martinelli and Saka is that Everton goal where he dropped into midfield. Gabriel pings the ball into his feet. He looks after it, his touches away from the defender, he's immediately on the front foot running at them, and Martinelli's made the darting run. Okay, he doesn't get the ball to him, but because Saka's made the other darting run, he's able to then pick up the misplaced pass and put it into the back of the net, and Arsenal are 2-0 up. So we have again seen Gabriel Jesus, and we've seen the front three really benefit from his arrival and the fluidity that he gives them. Now we're going to touch on Jesus' numbers in a little bit, but I want to talk about something else that I've seen from a tactical setup, and that is Arsenal's underlapping central midfielders. And I think it's a crucial thing that I've spoken about so many times with Graham, and it's about having, let's just make the players a little bit bigger here, it's about having Martinelli pulling wide, Saka pulling wide, and the runners into the area from Odegaard and Xhaka, and exploiting those areas that we just don't exploit enough. when you're stretching the pitch, City do this brilliantly. I'm so sorry, I sound like a broken record. I've said it a million times. I said it in our review of the season as well. When the wingers are hugging the touchline, it's to make space across the pitch. It's to stretch their back four. It's to make it awkward for the defenders and work them harder. But Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, they are experts at exploiting those spaces. And Arsenal didn't do it nearly enough. But in pre-season, we started to see it. Now let's have a little look at Odegaard's goal against Chelsea. And what did we see? A ball comes into Martinelli. Apologies early on. It's a slightly clunky edit, but you'll get the point. He spins from defenders. He looks after the ball, but immediately Odegaard's attacking that space and finds the far corner. Let's show from this bit here when he makes that run. Actually, let's go one before. And again, it's about, we'll show it in yellow. It's about exploiting these spaces because Martinelli, okay, he's actually not the widest there in fairness, but he's still fairly wide. Zinchenko's holding the width, and Odegaard's making a darting, underlapping, inside run, whatever you want to call it, and he's firing it into the far corner and putting Arsenal 2-0 up against Chelsea. Was that an accident? Absolutely not, because what was the goal I just showed you a second ago? It was this. Now let me just again go make the players a little bit smaller. The ball's played out from White to Jesus. Xhaka's on his bike, makes the underlapping run. Let's show it one more time. It's this bit here. And let's slow it down to half speed. Made that run in between fullback and centre-back, getting into the inside bit of the penalty area and putting it across goal. There's a little bit of a ricochet here and there. Jesus is there. He's followed his run to get into the box and put it in the back of the net. The underlaps are going to be crucial for Arsenal. I'm so glad I've seen us score 2 goals in pre-season against good sides, utilising that. And listen, Xhaka's making that run all game against Sevilla, running beyond. Remember that shot he had from the Partey pass? He gets him beyond the shots over the bar. He was constantly getting in beyond. He was constantly getting forward. At one point, he was the widest player on the pitch as Zinchenko and Martinelli came inside as well. And Xhaka was really enjoying that free role. And I hope we see more of that against Palace because we need to ask those questions of them. It's a tight pitch as it is, so stretch it as much as you can and constantly be making those runs that are really difficult to track because who is it? Is it the fullback? Is it the centre-back? Who's meant to go with them? And it just makes it difficult. It pulls them apart. So well done, Arsenal. I want to see a lot more of that and I'm really glad we saw it in pre-season. Now let's talk about Gabriel Jesus a little bit more. Talk about what he did against Sevilla, some numbers here. Of course, he made the one appearance, 3 goals in that game, pass accuracy of 82%, 6 shots, not all of them on target, but 6 shots in the game, and he attempted 5 dribbles in that game as well. He was very busy. He was constantly just getting involved, trying to be at the heart of whatever we do, whether it was out on the wings, whether it was playing century through him, and he got a hat-trick in front of the Emirates crowd, which is great to see. But I think what's more crucial is these numbers I'm bringing up now. His pre-season minutes: 45 minutes against Nuremberg, 45 against Everton, 45 against Orlando, 57 against Chelsea, and 79 against Sevilla. Slowly working him up to getting near enough a full game's worth of game time per match. And I'm glad that Arteta basically treated the Sevilla game as an opportunity to basically get the minutes and get those first teamers used to playing a 90-minute match and 90-minute occasion. Now, Zinchenko came in and had a good impact as well. I think he looked comfortable against Chelsea and against, there was 45 minutes against Chelsea, wasn't it? And then looked comfortable against Sevilla for most of the game that he played. Again, slightly less minutes than Jesus in those 2 games, but getting the feel for being in the first team. And I've got to say, looked very, very comfortable. But what I will say is that I'm glad they're getting their minutes because, Vieira, who's a new signing, Emil Smith-Rowe, Tomiyasu and Tierney, who we know were crucial to Arsenal's best bits of last season, they didn't get their minutes this pre-season. And I do think that's a slight concern because if I'm just to pull up the first 6 fixtures we've got before a Europa League group stage game, that's 6 games. Some of them pretty tough, Palace away. Listen, no game is easy. But you're looking at Palace away, Leicester at home, Man United away as difficult games where Arteta's going to want to go with what he feels comfortable with the players who have had that natural rhythm and involvement in the team. And those 4 players, Vieira, Smith-Rowe, Tomiyasu and Tierney, haven't. So it could be a while before we actually see them getting minutes. And listen, this is where having 5 subs is going to make a difference. It's definitely going to help. You've got the opportunity to, if you're comfortably winning, you need to make a difference. Smith Rowe and Vieira, hopefully those kind of game-changing players. You can always bring them on in those situations, as I said, especially when you've got 5 subs. But in terms of getting 90 minutes in starting games, I think it could be a while, all the way till the start of September, and 6 Premier League games into the new season before we actually see them gain those regular minutes. So it's a real shame we didn't. I think it's a slight concern in terms of getting them up to speed for the new season. I think we're going to see that same core and some of those subs we mentioned, Nketiah, Lokonga, those kind of players, I think will be getting minutes, you know, in those 6 Premier League games while we get the others up to speed, and they might get 10 to 20 minutes here and there. But, you know, the important thing is not to rush them. We've got a first team at the moment that is looking very, very good. And of course, if there's injuries, they might have to be fast-tracked. So, yeah, shame we didn't get to see them, but I'm sure across September, they'll sort of be getting up to speed as well. And behind closed doors, they'll be doing their thing. So, yeah, guys, that's been sort of my quick sort of sum up of pre-season. I think Arsenal, I don't think they've shown anything new necessarily. I just think they've shown what the plan A can look like when it really comes together and we're really firing on all cylinders. And I think we've got to take this into the Palace game. Stick to what you do best. Press them, chase them. That's another thing I didn't mention. You know, Arsenal's pressing all pre-season has been absolutely fantastic. Go and chase Palace. Go and put them on the back foot. Go and suffocate them. Keep underlapping. Keep stretching the pitch. Keep doing all these things we've seen. Overload the midfield with players like Zinchenko and White coming into those central areas. And I think Arsenal can make a really good start to the season with these 6 fixtures I just mentioned. But we'll see. Let me know in the comment section how you felt pre-season went. Obviously, I think we all agree it went well. But what stood out to you? What is it you enjoyed? What here did I mention that you maybe noticed as well, or maybe something I didn't notice that you thought, you know what, James, this really impressed me. So yeah, I'll be in the comment section discussing it with all of you. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to AFTV so you can see all the preview content ahead of Palace, and we'll round it off there. Big thank you. Catch you on the next one.